You know, putting a new train into service, it's one of the most complex, high-stakes things you can do in the entire rail industry. So in this explainer, we're going to break down how a digital transformation is completely revolutionizing this critical step, moving it from a world of paper-based headaches to a streamlined, data-driven solution.
All right, here's how we'll tackle this. First, we'll look at the commissioning challenge itself and the old-school legacy process. Then, we'll dive right into the digital transformation that's changing everything, check out the real-world benefits, and finally, see what this all means for the future of delivery.
So, let's start with the big one, the challenge. Before a new train can even think about carrying passengers, it has to pass this incredibly rigorous acceptance process. We're talking about a mountain of checks, all against super strict safety standards and really complex contracts. Every single detail has to be verified and documented perfectly.
So how has the industry been handling this massive task? Well, for a long time, the answer has been what we call a legacy process. And really, that's just a nice way of saying it's been all about manual work and piles of physical documents.
This old-school workflow, it's this long, kind of broken chain of events. It kicks off with engineers buried in technical documents, then it moves to visual inspections out on the ground, and after that, a whole battery of tests, functional, static, dynamic, you name it. And every single step creates its own separate paper trail.
And as you can probably guess, this whole approach is just full of problems. I mean, we're not just talking about being slow, we're talking about serious risks. A single gap in the documentation could put a multi-million-dollar warranty claim at risk later on. And manual inspections? They leave a lot of room for human error, which can lead to huge safety and compliance issues.
Okay, so to fix these really fundamental problems, the industry is making a huge leap into a full-on digital transformation. And look, this isn't just about scanning a few documents. It's about a complete shift to a centralized, integrated platform that's built for this exact job.
The whole idea here is to get the entire commissioning process out of filing cabinets and off of a bunch of disconnected spreadsheets. It's all about replacing those messy paper trails with one single, unified digital platform. This becomes the one source of truth for every single person involved.
So this digital train delivery solution, it's custom-built to streamline the whole inspection and acceptance process from start to finish. It gives teams on the ground a mobile app to collect data in real time, and it feeds everything into one central system. That way, you know every test, every observation is captured right away and accurately.
Let's dig into the features that really make this work. First, cloud-based management means no more lost paperwork. Simple as that. The mobile app lets inspectors attach a photo as evidence right there on the checklist, creating a record nobody can argue with. And standardized protocols make sure every single train is tested the exact same way. That gives you consistent, reliable data you can actually analyze.
Okay, so what's the actual impact of all this? The benefits here aren't just ideas on a whiteboard. They're significant, and you can measure them, especially when it comes to being more efficient and improving quality.
The first huge win is speed. Just by getting rid of all the administrative bottlenecks and manual data entry, operators are seeing a mind-blowing 50% reduction in the time it takes to get a new fleet into service. Think about that. Trains are out there, serving passengers in half the time.
And what about that mountain of paperwork we were talking about? Well, the administrative work gets absolutely crushed. We're seeing the time spent just processing documents cut by an incredible 70%. This frees up your skilled engineers to actually do engineering, not just push paper.
I mean, the difference is just night and day. When you put them side by side and look at the time and resources spent, the digital solution is a massive leap forward in efficiency compared to the old way of doing things.
And it goes way beyond just speed. The financial and quality gains are massive. The system creates this complete, unchangeable digital audit trail. What does that do? It minimizes fights over warranty claims, it makes regulatory compliance totally rock solid, and, at the end of the day, it cuts down on those expensive delays.
So what we're really seeing here is the future of delivery. This is the new industry standard for how rolling stock gets commissioned. It's just faster, safer, and way more transparent than anything that came before.
You could really sum up the whole philosophy right here. It's all about transforming those complex, high-risk challenges of getting a new train accepted into streamlined, transparent, and totally manageable digital workflows.
And it's really important to get this. This solution isn't just a one-off. It's actually one piece of a much bigger puzzle,
one of over 30 integrated platforms that are coming together to create a single unified digital ecosystem for the entire life of a train, from the day it's commissioned to the day it's retired.
Look, this move to digital isn't a question of if anymore. It's a question of when. So the last thing to think about is this: is your commissioning process really ready for the digital future?